Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Corpse Floods Game Floods. For some reason the games keep showing up at my house, so I guess I'll do another pickups video before I get buried in them. The vast majority of this episode will be trades and small pickups from the sales groups on Facebook and stuff like that. Nothing too fancy, but I got some pretty cool stuff nonetheless, so we'll get right into it. First up, I did a local trade with a friend of mine, and I got some cool assorted games actually, but we'll start off with some Genesis. I got a copy of Streets of Rage 3, ultra rough, covered in stickers, not covered in the right sticker. A little bit of a bummer there on the condition, but I'd rather have a copy that I can play than not have a copy at all, so I'll be looking to do a label upgrade sooner or later with it, but for now I'll clean it up the best I can and make do. Happy to have it either way. That's my favorite beat 'em up series. So anyways, moving on to the other games I got from him. Got a copy of Dragon's Revenge and the manual. It came in a blank black case, so I'll be looking maybe to get the cover art for that sooner or later. Not really a huge deal. It's just kind of a quirky pinball game with like RPG like story to it, I guess. I haven't really played it yet, but that's what it seems like it's all about. Anyway, and moving along, I got a complete in-box copy of Toxic Crusaders. I love the Toxic Avenger and all his B-movie cheesiness, so I know the games aren't that good, but I just had to add it to the collection and play it again. Maybe I'll get some fun out of it either way. Moving along, I've got one N64 game from him, and that was Cruisin' World. Just a game I didn't have, and I'm not a big racing fan, but N64's got some pretty decent racing games, so happy to have that. And then moving right into my favorite system, I got a couple things from him. First up, copy of Mario All-Stars. Obviously I already had that game, it's pretty common, but I recently sold my friend a Super Nintendo, so I've been kind of keeping an eye out for the essentials for him, you know, the basics, and hooking him up with some pretty cool games, especially if I already have them. So he'll be happy to have that. Next up, I got a copy of Kirby's Avalanche, which I'm actually really excited to get because that completes my Super Nintendo Kirby collection, so pretty awesome there. Next up, I got a copy of Rock and Roll Racing, a game I've been wanting for a long time, and I actually for some reason thought I did have it, and then when I went to look through the collection to play it, I didn't. So I don't know if I just had a dream I had it or what, but now I definitely have it. Maybe I'll stumble upon the copy that I thought I had later on, and then I'll just have a cool trader. Either way, awesome. Next up, another one I'm really pumped to get, Super Smash TV. I'm a big fan of these games. I really like the NES copy that I've had for a while. Super Smash TV only improves on it. I love playing multiplayer with a buddy on that game, so I'll be looking to get a buddy over pretty damn quick to play that with me. Moving along, another trade I did with another friend of mine. He actually wanted the Super Nintendo that I got in one of my recent episodes. So I hooked him up, and we did a little bit of cash and trade deal there, so that was pretty cool. First up, I got a couple of loose DS games. We got Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing Wild World, and my favorite out of the three, Mario and Luigi, Partners in Time. I love the Mario and Luigi games, like the RPG style ones. They're pretty solid. They're not quite Mario RPG, but you know, better than nothing. At least they're still putting out some pretty decent games in that style. Next up is a complete in box copy of Dragon Quest VI: Realms of Revelation. Happy to have that because I'm of Dragon Quest VII coming out on the 3DS recently. I've been kind of trying to snatch up all the DS versions of the games, and I'm only missing a few now, so that's cool. So super happy to see that in the trade pile. Moving along, we got Fear 3 for PS3. I have all the Fear games for 360 except that one, so I'm still going to keep an eye out on that because I'd like to have the complete set on the 360, but either way I got it for PS3, so you know I got a copy if I feel like playing it until I find that. Next up for the 360 I got Armored Core 5. It's going to be solid. I like mech fighting games, so I'm sure that'll not disappoint, or maybe will. Either way, I'll try it out. Next up, a game I surprisingly don't have in this format, and that is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I know, it's super common, I see it everywhere. I've been just kind of thinking, yeah, I'll get it in a bundle of Wii stuff sooner or later, but I find I don't really go after bundles of Wii stuff because it seems to be the same couple of games every time, and you know, I was like, yeah, I'll get it real cheap one of these days, and you know, he just kind of threw it in with the trades, and I was like, you know what, yeah, sure. It's not that I didn't have the Twilight Princess, because I have it for the GameCube, and I have it for the Wii U, so now I've just got all three. As far as I remember, someone said that this one's reversed for the Wiimote functionality, so you know, maybe it'll be a different take on it for me if I get bored of playing the GameCube one. I was a big advocate for playing it on the GameCube because they announced it for the GameCube, and then for a while it looked like it wasn't going to be coming out on the GameCube, and like they were just pushing it back until they could put it on the Wii, and I was super pissed off. And then they kind of were like, oh no, we're going to put it on the GameCube. I'm like, damn straight, because I want that. That's one of the main reasons I bought a GameCube. I'm a big fan of the Wind Waker now, but when they originally changed the art style to like the Toon Link thing, I was absolutely against it. I was like, how can the last gen have like such beautiful games like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and all of a sudden we got this like cartoony crap? I was so against it. I actually boycotted the game. I never played that or the Four Swords Adventures or anything. The first time I tried a game in that style was when the DS games came out. I bought them for my wife because I bought her a DS for Christmas, and she bought me a PSP for Christmas the same year, so we kind of traded off and played both of those together. And you know what, that kind of won me over, and I was more like, alright, you know what, I'll check out the Wind Waker. And I definitely had missed out, but you know, I'm more used to it now and I'm more okay with it, but at first I was absolutely against it. I was like, this is ridiculous. Anyway, moving along, another game I'm super excited to cross off my N64 list, and that is Mega Man 64. I'm a huge Mega Man fan, so I'm happy to find any Mega Man games. They seem to be hard to find because no one wants to get rid of them, and they treat them like gold, so they want like top dollar. So I was happy to find that. I've already got Mega Man Legends, and that's the PlayStation version of Mario Mega Man 64. So I like to see the differences between them. I know there's obviously going to be some cutscene differences and stuff like that, and the audio is probably going to be crisper on the PlayStation, but the no load times on N64 is going to probably win me over in the end, because some of those PS1 load times are ridiculous. And next up, the stars have aligned for me. I don't know if you've been following all my pickup videos, but in the very first Corpse Flood Game Flood, I got a package that I won in a YouTube contest, and it was from the channel Crosschop, and it was a box of absolute random games, just all over the spectrum. And in with that was a disc-only copy of Disc 2 of Tales of Symphonia for the GameCube, which is pretty cool, but also kind of a complete tease with how much I love the Tales games. I, for some reason, haven't been lucky enough to acquire this yet, so I've been... I was kind of bummed when I saw that. I was like, oh, cool, Disc 2. Now, hopefully, I'll just find a random copy of just Disc 1 in the case so I can complete it. And then, while doing that trade with my buddy, I went and hung out with him the next weekend, and we were playing some Gears of War 4, and he was packing up because he's moving right away. And he shows me this. He's like, oh, check out this absolutely worthless game to me now. And I'm like, oh, what's wrong with it? And he goes, yeah, I got Disc 1 and I cannot find my Disc 2. I'm like, huh, that sucks, man, but you should probably give me that. And he's like, no, I'm going to keep it. Maybe I'll find Disc 2. And I was like, nah, you probably won't. You should definitely hook me up and give me that. And he's like, nah. And then we played Gears for about 4 more hours, and then I was like, yeah, alright, I should probably head home. I gotta work in the morning kind of thing. And he's like, alright, cool. And he just throws it in my lap. He's like, alright, get out of here. So I got home, and I'm super happy to say I now have a complete copy of Tales of Symphonia. I had the Tales of Symphonia Chronicles for PS3, but I love the GameCube and I love the Tales series, so I obviously wanted to have it on the GameCube too. Alright, that's it for that trade. Next up, another trade that was actually something I saw put up for sale. A girl I traded some stuff with before had some stuff up, and the prices on it were way off base, like ridiculously off base. We're talking NHL 99, just a loose cart for $100, kind of off base. Like every game I own is absolute gold off base. So you know, I know she was pretty reasonable. I traded with her before. We did some really good trades, and then I said, like, just so you know, like I took some VGP PC or PG price guide pictures, and I sent them to her. I was like, yeah, just so you know, those games are like nowhere near that. I don't know where you got the prices from, but they're a little crazy. And she's like, yeah, I thought some of those were kind of surprisingly expensive. And she's like, well, I got my boyfriend looked them up before we put them up, so next time I'll definitely do the do the research on those. I was like, oh, hey, cool. And I said, well, anyway, would you want to maybe do another trade? And she's like, yeah, sure. So I got a couple okay games, couple of filler, but all in all, it was a pretty decent trade. Starting up with some N64 games, I got some couple just like filler games that I didn't have already. We got NBA Jam 2000, meh. Bottom of the ninth, eh. And Robotron 64. I don't know. The cover makes it look a little bit lame, but you know what? I want to give it a chance anyway. It could be a hidden gem I just don't hear people talk about, or maybe there's a reason people don't talk about it. So either way, we'll be trying that out. The sports games, probably not, but you know, I'm slowly going for a complete N64 set. So every little bit helps. Next up, a couple of PS2 games. Pretty cool games. I kind of see them here and there, but I'm a little lazy when it comes to picking up PS2 games because honestly, they're just everywhere, and most of the time there's like one diamond in the rough, and it's not even like, oh my god, I gotta have that game. So that's pretty much how the situation's been. The couple times I've seen them, I was just like, yeah, it's not worth the messaging and the meeting up to get them. But when I saw them in here, I was like, definitely time to pick these up. First up, we got The Warriors, a pretty sweet, kind of out of nowhere Rockstar game based on a movie from, I'm pretty sure, the early 80s. I think it was like 81, 82, maybe even late 70s. It's a really good premise for a game, and it's cool that they decided to come out with it after all these years, and it was a really solid game, so I'm going to be happy to play that again. Played it when it came out, and I don't know what happened. I don't think I owned it. I'm pretty sure I just borrowed it or rented it at some point. Another one I'm really surprised I didn't have, especially with my love of the movie. Scarface, The World Is Yours. Kind of like a GTA clone, Godfather game style game, but yeah, it's Scarface. Why would I not own that? Idiot. Now I do, so I don't need to be so ashamed of myself. Next up, we got a Wii U game, and that's Sonic Boom, The Rise of Lyric. I'll just out and say it, Sonic hasn't been good for a long ass time. He's very hit and miss, not very hit, more miss lately, but the kid in me is always going to give Sonic a chance, I think. Not a full price game chance, but you know, I'll pick it up in a trade, something like that. Hopefully I'm pleasantly surprised. I think I heard that one of the Wii U Sonic games is not too bad. I'm pretty sure it was the other one, but you know what? I'll give it a try. I'm sure Araya will have some fun with it, and you know, whatever. It's a cool game to add to the collection, I suppose. As long as it's not another Sonic 06, I'll be at least partially happy. And next up, a couple of sweet GameCube games. A couple of filler GameCube games. First up, we got Legends of Wrestling. Like my wrestling games, and these ones are pretty fun. They're not really quite on par with, you know, the WrestleMania and the Day of Reckoning games on GameCube, but pretty solid either way. I think I have a disc-only copy for PS2, so it's cool to have a complete in-box copy. Next up is a little bit of a random game. But that's Shrek Super Slam. From what I've read about this, and I haven't read a lot, it seems like it's kind of a Smash Bros. Clone, and if it is, that could be super fun. I don't know. My kids like Shrek, so I think I'm gonna play this game with Araya too and see what she thinks of it. If it sucks, I'll just let her beat me up a couple rounds and we'll throw something else on. Either way. Next up, a couple ones I already had, but are very good traders. So there's Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. The one was actually an upgrade on mine. I didn't have the manual for 2, so I was happy to snag that and add it to my copy to complete it. Next up, I think, is the last trade. And this was the only one I did through one of my Facebook game groups. And it's through a guy did a trade in one of my last videos. I think it was the very last Game Flood. I traded with him, and then like 2 days later he posted a find he had. And I was like, oh man, let me know if any of those are doubles, because there was a bunch of cool games in it. And he's like, oh, actually, yeah, if you need any of these are doubles. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll pick those up. So I found something to trade him, and we had to wait a while. He was looking for a specific game. I was like, I think I can get that. So I got it for him, and then we did our trade. And I got, first up, Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. I already have Link to the Past, but I've always actually liked the Player's Choice label better than the original. The original is just kind of like that bland, just gold background, and this one looks sort of like an old like leather-bound book and stuff, and I've always thought it looked cool, and I've never seemed to really pick it up, so I was just like, yeah, you know what, I really want that. So I got that, and also moving on with my other collection I was trying to beef up, I got Dragon Quest IX for the DS. I believe I'm only missing Dragon Quest V for the original DS now, and then I'll just have to get 7, and I think in like 3 months, 8 is coming out, so we'll just keep on getting them as they come out now. I'll just be caught up, and I'll only have to pick up the one at a time now. Last little bit here, I got a couple just random Facebook buys. I got Dynasty Warriors Gundam 2 for PS3. Like I said, I like my mech fighting games, and that looks like a really cool hybrid of 2 different styles of game. And I guess the rest of these aren't Facebook buys. I got a couple games that went in the cheap bin at Walmart, and I figured it's time to pick them up. First up is Lego City Undercover. I love the Lego games. I'm not even going to use my kids as an excuse to love the Lego games. I just friggin' love them anyway, and being a big fan of the Wii U, I wanted to have the exclusive game, and I've seen it a couple times, and I kind of just put it off, and then it ended up starting to become a little harder to find. So I was glad they put out the Nintendo Select, and I was able to pick it up because of, they're gonna starting next week. The last Wii U rolls off the production line, so it's gonna be time to snatch up all the Wii U stuff before it's gone. Speaking of which, I was in a Mega Man mood, and I snatched up Mighty No. 9 at last. I've not heard much good things, but I'm not as hard on games as most people seem to be, so hopefully I'll have some fun with that. If it's not completely broken, I'll probably get some fun out of it. And another one is actually, I thought of it as I bought it, but I actually traded a couple games I got recently to my friend Matt, and he hooked me up with buying me a copy of the new game, Dragon Quest Builders. I was on the fence about this, actually we both were, because I understand why people like Minecraft, but it's just not for me. I don't really have the amount of free time to make Minecraft worth it. Honestly, if I want to just build stuff, I'll play Legos. That being said, like I said, I totally understand people can make magnificent things in that game, and yeah, so that being said, I was not really too into the original idea of Dragon Quest Builders. I'm like, oh, is it just like Minecraft with, the characters basically the exact same thing, just build whatever? But I watched some gameplay on it, and it's actually got a lot of story to it, a lot of RPG elements. There's a lot of battling and quests you go on to make their point of what you have to build, but you can also free build if you want to, if that's your thing. So the storyline to it made it pretty cool to me, and I I picked it up and I've been playing it, and I've actually been loving it. So I'm glad I took the plunge on this one. I recommend it actually. If you like Minecraft, you'll love it. If you like Dragon Quest, you'll probably think it's pretty cool too. If you don't mind that mechanic, if it's actually a lot like Dark Cloud 2, where you know build the town and stuff like that, and you manage it, and you know the people are like, oh, we could really use this, and then you got to go figure out how to build that or find the resources and stuff. It's a very different Dragon Quest game, but I think it's worth checking out, even if you get it cheap or whatever. Maybe wait if you're on the fence about it too. But I'm happy with it. And then the last little thing here, my birthday's coming up, and I went to pick up the mail with my newest game boxes, and I had an extra package I wasn't expecting. I was like, oh, what's this? And I opened it up, and in the package was Lunar Legends. I always have, you know, a couple of games, probably about 10 or 12 games, just kind of sitting around in my Amazon cart, and my wife and I share the Amazon account, and she saw that in there when she ordered some other stuff, and she's like, yeah, it's cheap, and just bought it. And then I opened it, I'm like, hey, where'd this come from? And she's like, yeah, I figured it was cheap, early birthday present. So that was cool. And then just as I got home today, my daughter gave me this out of nowhere, and she goes, here, Daddy, this is a birthday present from us, the kids. And I was like, awesome. I've actually been looking to get all the parts of this story. Star Wars Dark Forces and Jedi Knight 1 and 2 are actually all part of a trilogy about the same character. So I remember playing all these games kind of separately, and I don't think I ever really finished either of them, but apparently the story is really cool on it, and from what I remember it is. So I've been looking to get that, so that's cool to have part 1, and hopefully I'll get the other parts soon. And I think that's about it for today. From what I understand, this is like, what I remember I should say, this is actually like basically a Doom clone with Star Wars stuff, which sounds badass to me. Yeah, anyway, so that's about it. Let me know what you like most out of all these games. I think there's a pretty cool variety here. A lot I'll be looking to delve into. Actually, unlike a few of my recent videos, I've played quite a lot of these, but there's a few I haven't. So if there's one you recommend I try first, leave a comment down below, and of course, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Game hard.